يا هلا 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 حن قلبي على جمعة الخير هلا حن قلبي على جمعة الخير هلا يا هلا ويا هلا ويا هلا ويا هلا يا هلا ويا هلا ويا
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Saturday edition of Let's Talk with me, Julie Alli. Great to be with you, and I've got three amazing ladies that are standing by to talk with us this morning on three totally different subjects. The lovely Fatima Sheikh will be here to talk about the African Academy for Human Development, High T. Then Yvette Offenberg will be talking about a new schooling model. And of course, it's that time of year when we're all scurrying around looking for a better or a good school or a good schooling system or an alternative schooling system for the little darlings in our life. Yvette will be telling us what that alternative is. But first up, a young, gorgeous lady in studio. Khatija Mohammed is her name, and she's here to talk about her journey of self-discovery. What a story. I believe that this is truly going to uplift you. It's going to inspire you. And if you've been sitting in a dark corner, feeling sorry for yourself, feeling like a victim, I think after you hear the story, you're going to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and you're going to go out and make something of your life, inshallah. Khatija Mohammed, Assalamu alaikum, welcome to the program.
Walaikum salam. Thank you, Julie, for having me on.
Lovely to have you here. Now, I see you're a life coach and an NLP practitioner. So in your life coaching, is this the modality, the NLP system that you use in doing the coaching, or is it two totally different entities?
Depending on what your issue is, we do link the NLP with the life coaching. Depending on the seriousness of your circumstance, it is linked. We do have the life coaching sessions with the NLP, which has proven to have remarkable results.
So I understand, and NLP really stands for neuro-linguistic practice or program. Yes. And it's really about changing your thinking.
It's changing your thinking. It's looking into the future. It's just having a different perspective. Yes.
Now, you blew me away off air when you told me that you're married, divorced, you have 4 children, 3 sons and a daughter. Yes. The eldest son being 19 years old.
His daughter, yes.
Is it the daughter?
Yes.
Okay. And you don't look a day over 19 yourself. So I kind of, really compliments to you. I don't know what it is that you do, but you're looking brilliant, alhamdulillah.
Thank you.
Despite the fact that you've come out of a troubled marriage. Mm-hmm. What kept you sane?
Well, first thing I would say that it was my kids. My kids kept me sane. They're the reason I survived. They're the reason I am who I am today. Because at a certain point in my life, I wouldn't actually blame it. I'm not here to do a blame shift. I would not blame it on anybody else. But as an individual, I never valued who I really was, and I never appreciated myself. And it led to a lot of disruptions in my life. I lost control of my own self. And by looking every day at my kids and the role that I had to play for them, and the eagerness or the proudful moments that they have when they looked at me getting up every single day and moving on with my life, that was actually my stepping stone when I realized that I need to do it for them. They're my strength.
You also said to me that we as Indian, possibly even Muslim women, don't understand the concept of self-love. We probably don't understand it fully. We as mothers give so much of ourselves to our family that sometimes we just don't have enough for ourselves. How damaging is that to us, to our psyche, and how important is it for us to start loving ourselves?
I think it's a very damaging factor. It's completely damaging to a point where once you lose control of yourself, you have no, goodness.
Is this difficult for you?
Yeah, no, it's fine. Once you
And you have been through a self-discovery journey.
that's
So you can do this.
I can
Carry
do this.
on.
Okay. The thing is, it is very damaging to yourself, but it's when you realize that there's so much more out there, and that you can do this, and you must do this, and you will do this. That's when I undertook my journey of self-discovery. As Muslim women, we are too afraid to love ourselves, because I wouldn't say it's Islam that has laid the rules and the regulations down for us, but it's more the culture that we believe that we have roles to play. We have roles of being a mother, we have roles of being a wife, we have roles of being a sister, we have roles of being a daughter, we even have major roles of being daughter-in-laws. But along all of those roles, we forget that we have a role and we have a role towards ourselves as well. And we need to firstly take care of ourselves. And when we say self-love is something that comes from within. It's an internal feeling. It's an internal feeling that you have between your heart and your soul. And your heart and your soul are two vital things that have been given to you as an amana from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if we neglect our heart and our soul, we are doing injustice to our bodies, and in turn we are not appreciating, or we are not following through with Allah's amana that He has given us. He's given us these two things as a trust. So the first thing we've got to do is we've got to learn how to start loving ourselves.
And if we love ourselves, we'll be able to be that much more empathetic and be able to give the love to the people around us and make our circles grow bigger. You've also said to me that you recently divorced, January this year. How difficult has that journey been for you from January up to this point? Because for 19 or 20 years, you were in a partnership. It was Mr. and Mrs. Mm-hmm. Now, all of a sudden, it's no longer Mr. and Mrs. You are now Miss Muhammad.
Yes.
But you are still the mother to your 4 children. You always have been, and you always will be. But all of a sudden, you're the single entity.
Mm-hmm. The journey which I'm on at the moment, it was very overwhelming, especially the transformation from Mrs. to Miss, because we normally go from Miss to Mrs. But it has been a great journey, because it's through my strength and through the difficulties that I faced within myself, not actually with anybody else, just within myself. The belief that I was a nobody, that I was worthless, that I had no value. The belief that I did not...
Why did you believe that of yourself? Was it a very abusive partner that made you believe that? Or were you just feel that perhaps you married way too young and you didn't really find yourself first before going into a relationship?
I think it was that I did marry very young, and I did not actually find myself. So that was the belief that I lived on my whole life, where internally I knew that I was not this type of person. And that's where I started suffocating within myself, and my urge to start discovering myself came from there. So I actually decided to embark on the journey of self-discovery, because in my heart I knew that I have a different purpose, and I am a different person, and I'm a different being, and I'm not who this perception of me was created, and I believed it. And maybe it was just something uncomfortable about that whole perception. I started judging myself. I started believing that I was this person who I just hated being. And I've somehow come to realize that there's so much more to me. There's so much beauty, there's so much love within me. There's so much more, there's so much purpose in me, that I was actually put out here on this earth for a purpose which I need to fulfill. I need to fulfill my purpose. And yes, we all have this, everybody has this notion that, yes, my purpose is to be a mother. What is your purpose in life? I'm a mother. We're all mothers. Every girl that is born every second of the day, her role is eventually going to be a wife, a sister, a mother. That's what we're all going to do. But that is not your purpose. And once I found my purpose, that's when I started. My journey began. And it's been overwhelming. Like you asked me earlier on, how did I manage in this last 10 months? I've been doing super great. I
Alhamdulillah.
have days where I feel like I cannot get up and go, which is pretty normal. Everybody under any circumstance has those kind of days. But I have more good days than I have bad days. And I get up and I go because I am actually a role model for those 4 kids, and I am their strength. And my daughter actually said to me the other night, she says, when somebody asks me to identify myself or to give a version of my identity, the only thing that I can say is, I'm my mother's daughter.
Wow. Let's go for an ad break. I'm talking to the lovely Khatija Mohammed. She is a life coach, and she also does NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. She kind of went through a difficult stage in her life, married for about 20 odd years, and decided that she needs to break away, she needs to be herself, she needs to find herself, and she embarked on a journey of self-discovery through life coaching and NLP. But over and above all of that, she's also busy studying, she's doing a psychology degree, but she'll unpack all of that for us right after the ad break. Khatija Mohammed is my guest. She is a life coach, and she also does NLP programming. She's also studying, by the way, and she's here to talk about her journey of self-discovery, and for other women that find themselves in a situation where they're unable to love themselves, how you go about tapping deep within your heart and soul and bring out all of that what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed you with. What are you studying?
I'm currently doing my 3rd year of BA Psychological Counseling.
MashaAllah. Why was it necessary to go down that route? Because you've already done life coaching and NLP, the NLP program.
It started off where I always had a need to study. I'm the type of person that could never sit still just doing one thing. I call myself a lifelong learner. A lot of people had their opinions on me to say, can't you just stick to one thing? Can't you? Why do you do so many things? But that was just the way I am. I love learning new things. I love experimenting and being in new fields.
And it fulfills you, doesn't it?
It fulfills me, and it keeps me sane. Mm-hmm. And I started off, I am actually a qualified beauty therapist. And from there, it was my dream actually before I got married to always be a lawyer. Mm-hmm. And I always thought that that's where I'll end up. I'll end up doing law and I'll end up being a lawyer. But unfortunately, or maybe with Allah's will, that wasn't meant for me. But through my struggle of my own journey, where I found myself at a point, a rock bottom point, I decided that maybe it would be best for me to actually move into the psychology field so that I can understand my own behavior a bit better, or understand why do I feel the way that I do. And at the same time, I needed to be an encouragement and empowerment for my kids.
Alhamdulillah. So, and for other people around you, other women
around me. I just could not understand the behaviors that were happening, and why did we just have to succumb ourselves to this kind of responsibilities and behaviors. I mean, we need to get out there as women. There's so much more out there. We need to grasp what is out there and enjoy the ride.
How long ago is it that you studied life coaching and did the NLP programming? And how has that helped you in your journey of self-discovery?
The NLP and life coaching journey began last year in 2018, towards the end of the year. It was just very ironic that it all happened in the midst of my divorce. I was at my life coaching seminar when my first talaq was given to me. So I could not have been in a better place and at the best time. I was surrounded by people who have become my family.
Were you shocked, or were you expecting it?
I was expecting it, but it's always a shock. Even though you expect it, it's always a shock. And it helped me. I survived that traumatic experience, or that traumatic moment of my life, because of the situation that I was in, the coaching that I was doing. And from there, I started following through with the coaching focusing it on my experiences in life and where I want to move forward now and change or help another, because I believe that my story will definitely change in a life of another.
Inshallah. Self-discovery. So you were on this course and you're now on this journey of self-discovery. What have you learned about yourself? And what have you changed about yourself? And is it possible for us, of years of conditioning, whether positive or negative, that we are able to switch and change our behaviors and our perceptions about self and others?
I have learned a lot about myself, things that I never knew. I have learned that I am actually a very giving and loving person. And
MashaAllah.
I am kind at heart. And I do things from my heart, and I do it out of love. And I have learned that no matter what life throws at you, no matter what your struggles are, no matter what your trials and tribulations are, it's not an excuse to throw yourself on the ground and kick a fit. It's more reason for you to get up and get going, because you have to do it for yourself. You have to love yourself. If you want a better life for yourself, you got to make the better life for yourself. Nobody owes you anything. No one's going to come out there and going to come do it for you. You've got to do it for yourself. And through that journey, I have learned a lot of things. Firstly, I've learned acceptance. I've accepted that I am a human being. I make mistakes. We all have faults. We all make mistakes.
Does that mean you are a little more forgiving and accepting of other people's shortcomings?
It does. It does actually help in that sense, where you do become forgiving of other people's shortcomings. You forgive yourself first, and then you obviously forgive others.
And you're non-judgmental.
And you're non-judgmental. You know, that perception that everybody has about you, you let it go. You, like the saying goes, that what everybody else thinks about you is none of your business. It really is none of your business.
Absolutely. It's not going to take
business.
or add to you as a person.
And you've got to get up. You've got to get up. You've got to lift your head up high. You've got to fix that crown of yours, and you've got to move, get going. So that's how.
Absolutely.
What I'm doing.
Earlier on, we spoke about self-love, and now we're talking self-discovery. How do the two concepts align? And with the awareness of who you are, where you're at, how does it change your life?
Self-discovery is just the big term for all the selves that follow after that. We get self-love, self-respect, self-discipline. There's a lot of things that go after that. So self-love is obviously a discipline of self-discovery. You cannot be on a journey of self-discovery if you have not begun to love yourself.
And I just want to interject here. When we talk self-love, we're not talking ego. We're not talking arrogance. We're not talking narcissism. We're talking about really self-love. We're talking about self-respect, are we not?
Self-respect. I think it's an internal process. It's empowerment. And empowerment is an internal process which helps you to create freedom, confidence, skills. It helps you to become more resilient. And all these result in giving you a vision for a healthier life for yourself. So it's more of that. And if you're going to do self-love for ego, and if you're going to do it for all those reasons, you're just going to end up destroying yourself. Because when you love yourself internally, like I said, it's a relationship between your heart and your soul. So you've got to love yourself internally, and it will all just flow. So externally, you will give off that self-love, and the relationships and the feelings will be reciprocated. So it's a great...
Because there's this change within you, and it's a very palpable change. People pick it up, and they're going to respond to that positive change.
They're going to respond to the positive change. But also, along this, you've got to remember self-love, the journey of getting to the point where you are loving yourself. There's a few aspects. There's a few things that you need to look out for. And that I would say firstly is toxic relationships, toxicity. It plays a big factor in self-love. It plays a big factor in self-discovery. You've got to source out the things that are actually toxic for you. It can be relationships, it can be friendships, it can be social things, it can be objects, it can even be your own thoughts. Your own thoughts can be toxic for you. So the more you eliminate those things from your life or move a little bit away from it, that's when you actually gradually start finding yourself.
I like what you talk about, your own thoughts being very toxic. We're all caught up and we make these horrible movies in our minds, very especially if we have troubled relationships. And there's nothing worse that can depress you and drag you down than those negative self-thoughts. How does one, negative or toxic, whatever terminology you want to use here, what's the trick to be able to switch off that fuse and start thinking positively, think abundance, think gratitude? Because that, you know, we're told by all the gurus, so to speak, that the more positivity and gratitude and love you put out in the universe is what you'll attract back into your life.
I would say that actually the best thing for me, what worked for me, was the point of gratitude.
Alhamdulillah.
Gratitude is the greatest blessing. To be grateful for everything that you have, to show appreciation for everything that you have, it gradually releases the toxic thoughts. When you start appreciating things around you, you're no longer looking at things with jealousy, with envy. You start looking at things more positively. When you hear other people's stories and when you look at people that are lower than you, not lower than you, that have
in a more challenging situation than you.
Yes, not in an egotistical situation, but when you look at people that are actually have less than you have, and when you start appreciating the things that you have, that's when your thoughts change. That's when the positivity starts coming in, and things become, when you are so open to the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He grants you even more.
And the beauty about all of that, and we've come almost to the end of the show, is that it's one of the best ways to be in gratitude is when you're in salah, when you're raising your hands to make dua, speak to Allah. Tell Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala how grateful you are for all of His mercy and His blessings. And I think that's the most beautiful way of putting gratitude out.
Definitely. There is nobody else that's going to be by your side as much as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is.
In closing, what do you want to say to us and the viewers regarding self-discovery, your journey, and where you're at now?
I would say that self-discovery is an amazing journey. And once you take it, once you move on with self-discovery, you're never going to look back.
And this is through coaching and NLP?
This is through coaching, NLP. You can even self-discover yourself.
It's a bit difficult, isn't it?
It is a bit difficult, but they luckily in today's times, there's so much assistance. There's so many people out there that are willing to give you the support and the love and that you need to move forward. And it's an amazing journey. You're never going to look back. You're just going to keep discovering yourself and keep finding things about yourself. You're going to dig down into your inner child. It's just amazing.
And through this process, will you be able to then start self-loving and self-appreciating?
Definitely. Self-loving, once you know where you're heading, you got to know where you want to go. And the only way of doing that is when you start your journey of self-discovery, you start loving yourself, and then you're definitely going to know where you need to go.
How do people get hold of you for life coaching and to take them through NLP?
I'm currently available. I have an Instagram.
Which is?
It's Khadija Mohammed _ I've also got a Facebook page, which is Khadija Mohammed. And I've got a cell phone number that people can contact me on as well.
It's absolutely wonderful talking to you, and it is so delightful and heartening to hear a story which obviously you were trapped for over 20 years in a bad marriage, a bad relationship, but you were able to break away, find yourself, love yourself, and alhamdulillah, move on. Thank you for sharing with us and touching lives in a positive way.
Thank you for having me on.
Assalamu alaikum to you. Heartening, isn't it? Talking to someone like Khadija tells me that it doesn't matter what your circumstances, it doesn't matter how dark a place you're in, that if you believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, start believing in yourself, put possibly the thoughts of hope, love, gratitude out into the universe, alhamdulillah, your situation and your journey too will change. Still to come, Fatima Sheikh and the lovely Yvette Offenberg talking about an alternative schooling method. Welcome back, and another very youthful looking lady on the show this morning. Don't know what it is. We need to ask them what is their secret. Yvette Offenberg is my guest, and she comes with many, many years of teaching experience from the educational background, obviously. And she's here to talk about her school, which is called Natural Dynamics. It is, of course, that time of year when parents are scurrying around trying to find the perfect fit for their child or their children. And some parents, those, of course, that can afford it, are just not quite happy to send their children to state institutions or Model C schools. And Yvette is here to talk about what she can offer through Natural Dynamics. Good morning, welcome to the program.
Good morning, thank you for having me.
Nice to have people on the show who are absolutely passionate about what they do. And you're passionate about education.
Absolutely.
Why?
Oh, I would say I've always found education fascinating. It's always interested me on so many levels. The creative side, watching the children develop, watching them really grow through an experience. And I think also having my own children. So, you know, when you first have them, you think you want to keep them tiny and little because they're so interesting. But as they grow, you realize every part of them is interesting. So they're a human being. They have so many facets to them. And it's so interesting to watch that.
So you taught at a preschool. Did you ever teach at a state institution? And what is it that made you decide that you can and want to and must offer an alternative?
So I taught in many different schools and
over many years.
Over many years, yes. You make me feel old.
You don't look it.
And the great part, though, was that I really got a chance to look at all kinds of teaching and really behind the scenes kind of what goes on in the schools. So when I was looking for a school for my oldest son to go to Great North, I just knew that I didn't want to send him to any of those schools that I knew of. I went around visiting all kinds of schools, and I didn't want to send him there either. And then I found a school in Cape Town called Synergy Schooling, and they really seemed to do everything that I loved. And the biggest part being that they developed the whole child. So they kind of kept his soul alive, you know, which I really wanted. And they weren't willing to open a school in Joburg, though, after I contacted them and begged a little. So my friend Lana and I decided to open Natural Dynamics.
Have you kind of replicated the Synergy School model, or have you kind of come up with your own concept, remodeled it, and, you know, something that talks to you and know that this is going to appeal to parents and children alike?
So a big thing that I believe is that education is a living document. So you should never be stuck on one approach. You should always be looking at what is best for the kids and what is best in the world that we're living in at the moment. So I took a lot from Synergy, loved what they did. We've taken a lot from the Finnish system. You know, Finland is getting really great results in these schools and doing amazing things. And then we take from all kinds of modalities, so Montessori, Waldorf, traditional, the best practice that we can find, we blend it all together and make our own unique combination. Yeah.
Natural Dynamics, I presume, is now registered. And so you've got this model that you've got going. And you have said to me that you've taken from the best and remodeled this system, and it's running for the past 10 or 11 years. What is that X factor you believe that's making this work? How is it different and unique to other models that we've been faced with?
So I feel like everything we do is different. I think we feel completely not like a traditional school. So if you walk into our school, it doesn't have that same stiff feeling, if I can say.
Are you in a house? Are you in a house?
We're in a large house, yes, on a
Right.
very large property.
So it's almost like homeschooling?
It's got that kind of a feel,
Right.
that you're in smaller classrooms, lots of light and beautiful surroundings. What we also do is that we use the multiple intelligences approach to teach
What
children.
is that?
So basically, that was developed by Howard Gardner, and he said that you can't base intelligence on IQ alone. There are many intelligences that come in. So it's basically using your different senses, the different strengths of your personality, all come into the multiple intelligences. So what we try and do is let the children have a lot of concrete hands-on learning.
Like Montessori.
Yes, very much that way. A lot of, so they learn visually, they learn through their ears, they learn through feeling and touching, and through writing. As many senses as you can possibly use help that concept to be assimilated.
And that is the big thing in this day and age, is it not? Because we all learn differently. Some of us are sensory learners, some of us are visual learners, some of us are tactile learners, etc. And if you don't talk to that child, you're not going to get the results. Then there's also the issue around the different intelligence levels. I often ask people, is a child born naturally intelligent with a very high IQ, or is this developed through his life and also being in the right environment? What do you say to that?
And I would say very much it's both. So a child can be born with a very high intelligence, and it can stagnate if it's not given a good environment to grow within. And on the other hand, they can be born with an average intelligence, and you can literally increase their IQ by many points just through the environment. It's only recently been discovered that we have neuroplasticity in our brains. So they thought you got to a point where you stop learning, but you actually are always learning, and you can always grow your brain and your ability to do things. Doesn't always feel like that as you get older, though. But the science is there to back that up.
Now, you've got small classes. You have a maximum of 12 children per class, starting from grade 0. And as we've said, you've got different modalities that you've put together, but also learners are different. They learn differently. How do you cater? And I guess it's easy in a class of 12, but I should imagine it still can become a bit disruptive. And how astute do you have to be as a teacher to pick up on the children's different learning styles?
So our teachers there's a big focus on communication and developing a relationship with the child. So when you have that strong bond and you're constantly speaking to them and finding out where they are, what they're doing, how they interpret something, then you can start to stylize the learning around that. That's part of where the multiple intelligences come in. So when you're preparing for lessons, you're trying to think, okay, what about for this and for that? If they're learning this way, we're going to bring that part in and this part in. So your lesson is already aiming towards teaching the children, because remember, as much as they have a different learning style, they don't just have one learning style. So although you're teaching to 5 different learning styles, every child will benefit from that input.
Sounds like a lot of hard work for the teachers. That being said, how do you work around the Department of Education's syllabus or curriculum? Because I presume it's got to be in keeping to a certain degree, so that once those kids finish schooling and they go to university, they're not out of the main system of the education department.
Yes, so you can't change curriculums, unfortunately, whether you choose the CAPS curriculum from the Department of Education or you choose the Cambridge curriculum, and there's a few other curriculums out there. You can't change the content and the outcomes they require. But what you can change is the way you deliver it and the way you explore it in the classroom. So you can make it more fun, and you can go more in depth into the subject. You can make sure that they're getting more of the concrete and not just worksheets, constantly working in the books and writing, but let's do, for example, let's count to 20 using stones, not just looking in your workbook, 1, 2, 3, 4, 20 dots.
So there's the tactile comes in as well.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go for an ad break. We're going to talk lots more right after. Yvette Offenberg is my guest. We're talking about the natural dynamic schooling modality. She's based in Radio Kop here in Johannesburg. And as you've heard, the great news, they have 12 children per class only. They've been in operation for the past 11 years. And it does sound like the kind of school that speaks to me. If I had the choice all over again, turn the clock back, this is where I'd send my kids. Don't go away, we'll talk some more after the break. Natural dynamics is the schooling system we're discussing with Yvette. There's just the one school here in Gauteng in the Radio Kop region. And of course, this is another modality of teaching if you believe your kid is not doing well wherever he or she may be. What about children with learning difficulties? And I'm kind of wondering, they just do not fit in the mainstream environment. Would you consider a child like that?
So every child is individual. So what we suggest is that a child comes for a visit. And they spend 3 days with us, and during which it gives us time to get to know the child a little bit, see how they are, and if they will fit into the environment. So I wouldn't class it as, if you have a learning difficulty, you can't come, because there are some children that do have learning difficulties and thrive in our environment. But it's more whether the environment suits the child.
Okay.
And vice versa. Yeah.
Let's look at the whole issue around tests or exams. I mean, that's a big stressor in the lives of not only the little ones, but the family as well, the parents as well. How do you prepare for them, and how much of emphasis is put on that? Because I'm thinking here, you've got this totally new approach of teaching and learning. Does the whole exam drama and stress come into play in your environment?
So we really believe that you shouldn't have all that stress. There's far too much stress on our children. Just living in this world is stressful. So we try and reduce that completely for them. And what
by
we
doing
do,
what?
Exactly. So we don't have a continual testing thing. They don't write tests once a week. They'll write an exam at the end of the year. And we are constantly monitoring how they're doing. So we'll be checking in their books. Are they spelling words right? Are they starting to learn them? Or are they still struggling with them? Okay, let's do a little bit more work on the spelling. Let's get them to get 10 out of 10 for their spelling, but without doing a formal test. This is now your test. You're going to write a spelling, of 10 words. Then once they get to high school, they start doing more tests. The pressure does come on, and we've got to find out more often how they're doing and how they're progressing in a more formal way. And then from grade 10, we're writing the IEB exams. So IEB, obviously, they require a certain amount of tests and exams, and unfortunately that means 2 sets of cycle tests and 2 sets of exams during the year that the kids have to write. But also now they're in grade 10, they're 16 years old, they're more mature and more able to cope with that kind of responsibility.
The homework situation, we know that state schools are Model Cs. We hear parents complaining about the overload of homework. How do you work with the children that when they go home there's minimal? I mean, we do want parents to be involved, because if they're not, they won't understand where the child is at. But what is your model? What does your model look like as far as homework is concerned?
So our primary school children don't do homework at all. There's a lot of research that does say that children perform better at school without homework.
Wow.
So going home, the important part is to get involved in other activities, go play in the dirt and go climb trees and spend time with your family and do household chores and talk to your family. Those are all so important, and those have been found to actually help a child perform better at school. So no homework for the primary school. From high school, they start to do a little bit of homework, because again, the workload is now increasing. There needs to be some homework done. And also, you know, we do have only 12 children in a class, so we managed to get through a lot of the stuff. There's only little bits that need to go home and be done. And again, from grade 10, because they're now with the IEB, there are certain tasks that have to be done, and those have to be done at home. But once again, at least you're 16 now, and you can have
And
more
obviously,
of that.
you cover everything, like you've said, the regular South African, by the Department of Education, the curriculum. It's just that you've adapted it to your dynamic style of teaching and learning. The big question, ADD or ADHD, have you come across children in your current school with that specific issue? I know lots of people, lots of doctors and medical professionals are suggesting that there's no such thing, but depending which side of the spectrum you look at it. Have you come across it? Do you have children with ADD, and how do you deal with it in your school?
So again, it does come very much down to the individual and the individual personality, how that relates to the label of ADHD. But what we do is that, again, we've got to have the child come and visit, and we'll see if the environment will work for them. There are different levels of ADHD as well. We start our morning with meditation. So we try and get everybody to calm down first thing. And we very much promote healthy living as well. So often ADHD can come from just an influx of too much sugar and caffeine and junk food in the diet. We don't allow any junk food at school. A healthy lunchbox has to come to school, and we try and send as much information to the parents as possible about living a healthy lifestyle.
Sport, big question. A lot of people who choose to send their children to these small, almost homeschooling type of schools or very exclusive schools worry about sport, because that's a huge and important element in a child's life, as is obviously the actual schooling. Sport is as important for their development. How do you cater for that?
So we do sport. Every class has sport twice a week, and we have a coach that comes in and does sport with the children. We are not big enough to do matches for the kids, but the great part about being so small is that everybody's in the team. So it's not where in a bigger school you would choose whether you're going to do soccer or hockey or cricket after school. Everybody does soccer, everybody does cricket, everybody does tennis. So they're learning all the skills for all the sports. And then if they want to take that further, they go to club
obviously there is that as an
things.
Option.
Yeah, but they get a lot of activity during the day, and our kids, I find, are more active than normal schools as well, because they are not restricted by school shoes and school uniforms and things like that. So they climb trees and they chase each other all around the playgrounds, and they're playing sports at break. So they're very active and very healthy in that way.
Challenges for you as the owner of the school, early years, where are you at now, and what does the future look like for this amazing concept?
So I think there's always challenges. The older you get, the more you realize the challenges aren't going to go away. So I think that right now one of the biggest challenges is actually educating the parents, because there's so much information and so many aspects that go into schooling that it's so hard to describe all of that to a parent and to allow them to realize how many different areas of your child we're trying to develop. So that's probably a huge challenge for us at the moment. Going forward, we would obviously like to grow natural dynamics, and we would like to become a breast practice center, so that students and teachers, parents, people in the community can all come to our school and find out how to do what we do.
How do you encourage parent participation? I mean, the classes are so small, and I know one of the biggest gripes with regular schooling is that parents do not participate enough. They don't take enough interest in their children's education, though you have indicated that the primary learners do not take homework. Isn't that a way of getting parents more involved?
On the one hand, it is. On the other, I think sometimes it can break down the relationship between parent and child. When you're fighting over homework, and have you done that homework? And I don't understand what you're trying to do here.
Right.
It can become more of a bone of contention than a way to bond. So we always want to encourage parents to do your normal things with your children. Mm-hmm. Take that time when you would have spent during homework and cook together or have discussions. Your influence on your child is huge, and they look up to you so much. We're very lucky to have wonderful parents at the moment. They can always change. But they're always willing to help and to get involved and to participate in all our school events, which is really lovely. And that makes a big difference to the child as well. When you see their face light up because their parent joined them on a picnic or at a school market day, then you see how big that bond is.
Normally when a child doesn't do well at school for whatever reason, parents are called in and get involved immediately. How do you deal with that?
So communication is a huge thing for us. So we hardly ever are calling parents in. Because
so you're doing something right.
Hopefully. Because the teachers are constantly coaching the children. Mm-hmm. So if there's a incident between children, we're finding out, okay, tell me your side of the story and your side of the story, and how did that make you feel, and how did that make you feel, and what do you need, and what do you need? And they resolve the situation right there. And what we find is because they always have to do that, their relationships get stronger. And you end up, like now in high school, with the high school students, there's hardly ever an issue between them because they always have had to sort it out, and they know now they have the skills to sort it out.
Finally, do you believe that it's an advantage for children to be in such a personal, small space to allow them to grow? Will they be able to deal with the big bad world once they're done with school? Or does it make them that much tougher in a regular school where there's about 25, 30 children per class?
I think unfortunately being in those tougher environments these days tends to break our children down. They don't get the life skills that they need to really grow and develop and face that big wide world. There's so much that's left out, where when it's a smaller environment you can use hopefully the experience and wisdom that you've gained, but also the coaching skills that we do use with the children to give them the opportunity to develop that emotional intelligence that will make them resilient to the world.
What sort of results have you had over the past 11 years?
Are we
through schooling, year-end results?
So again, because that's not our main focus,
okay.
I wouldn't be able to give you stats on that.
But good results.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So at the moment, the IEB give us all the tasks and exams. We don't set any of that ourselves. And so we're really seeing how our children are doing, how they're responding to that, and they're all doing well. They're getting between 60s and 80s,
wow.
Some 90s for those
wonderful
exams.
You're obviously doing something right. How do people get in touch with you? And is it too late for registration for next year, or is this the right time?
This is exactly the right time. So all the enrollments start to flow in now. And they can get hold of us via our website, via email or telephone.
Give us the website address.
The website address is www.naturaldynamics.biz.
And that's where we leave it. Thank you. Keep up the great work. You're obviously doing something right.
Thank you so much.
And there you have it. If you're scurrying around looking for a school for your child, and if you live close to the area of Radio Kop, then Natural Dynamics might just be the answer for you. Just go to their website, and who knows, it might be a happily ever after for you and your child. Don't go away. We'll be joined by Fatima in a few minutes, and we're going to see what she has to say to us about the high tea, which I think is one of the biggest events on the calendar. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome back. We now have Sister Fatima Sheikh. She's here to talk to us about the African Academy for Human Development and also the high tea that they will be hosting on the 21st of this month. It's happening out in the Pretoria area. She'll give us all of those details. The high tea starts from 2:30 to 5 p.m. Sister Fatima is a Moroccan. She has been in our country for the past couple of years, and she's going to talk about her journey, her life journey, and her passion for development and upliftment of immigrant women and children. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
I'm delighted to have you here because you talk with such passion about the Academy for Human Development. Let's talk about your background first and why you are so vested in upskilling of women and children.
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Yeah, as you see, I'm from Morocco.
Welcome to our beautiful country.
Thank you. And I was living in Egypt for 15 years. I'm graduated from Al-Azhar University. And I'm a child psychologist and a clinical psychologist and Islamic psychologist.
MashaAllah.
Yeah, so I came to South Africa, say from 2009. And here I am in South Africa.
Are you a practicing psychologist here in South Africa?
When I came back and I was so excited to practice, but that is one of the challenges that immigrant ladies also, or immigrant maybe academics face in South Africa. That I came and I was like, okay, because I was practicing in Egypt like with the psychiatrists, with the psychologists, TV programs, and a lot of in the field of psychology and human development. I came here and I was like coming with that energy. Then I went for my papers to write the board exam, because the difference between Egypt and South Africa, I was a foreigner there also, but I was allowed to do whatever. Here it's other process. So they ask for a lot of documents that like I feel like indirectly, just go, please do something else. So I say,
I hope you're not giving up hope.
No, but I found something else that I love it also.
Alhamdulillah.
As my Sharia background, also I start in the Arabic field.
So you teach Arabic as well?
I teach Arabic, and I wrote 4 books, a program, a syllabus, how to teach Arabic for small kids.
MashaAllah.
Because it was my master in that field for small kids from 5 to 7, 8, 9. So there I start doing that.
Are the books available in South Africa?
They are available, but till now we are just using it at Al-Ghazali College. Till now we don't. Till now give it. People come and ask for it. Some schools come and ask for it, and if we can use it, and if we can train their teachers also. So I'm still in the psychology part, but the learning and the linguist. Psychology.
Right.
So I'm still in psychology.
So currently you're teaching Arabic to South African children at the Al-Ghazali School.
Yeah.
But the one thing that's piqued my interest is you said that you're a child psychologist, you're a clinical psychologist, and you're also an Islamic psychologist.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've heard about Islamic psychology. Please unpack that for us.
Okay.
And does that also mean that you have had to do 3 different certifications? I should imagine your grounding, your base studies in psychology was the same, but just to attain the 3 qualifications, you had to do possibly 3 different tests.
You see, the university, yes, is the same, but what people doesn't know about Al-Azhar University, and I really hope
in
if
Cairo.
we can have something similar here in South Africa. The system in Al-Azhar University, that see now you want to start to study at Al-Azhar University 1 year before you start any field like medicine or anything. You must study Sharia. 1 year Sharia, 14 years. 14 subjects of Sharia and Arabic sciences. Then you can start whatever you want. But in the same year now, I was studying psychology. Beside that 1 year, I'm studying psychology. You need to memorize for a part of the Quran every year. Even you are doing law, medical field, engineering, anything. That is one. You must study at least 2 subjects, Islamic subjects like tafsir in the 4 madhabs. And the fiqh in 4 madhab, tafsir, seerah all the subjects is with you every year till you finish. And you can graduate if you don't finish your 20 para of the Quran. And nice part of it that some subjects maybe your mark is a little bit down, but if your mark in the Quran is high, they give us a gift that subject you can pass.
MashaAllah.
So that is how it started the Islamic. Beside my background in Morocco, I'm talking just my experience at the university. So now, what is nice about it that you are a doctor, you are an engineer, you whatever you are, but you got that Sharia background in the four madhabs even.
That's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
How do you apply the Sharia to the type of work you do, your clinical, your child, and, well, obviously the two disciplines? How do you apply it, very especially, alhamdulillah, when you're engaging with Muslim people that come to you for psychological support?
You see what I was doing even in Egypt. We was working with Islam Online. Now I think it's not, now it's in Qatar, it was in Egypt before. So what been trained to do, that like see now, you got a problem, you're counseling. So you are not talking only about you're talking about the issue, the problem itself, then you bring the Islamic view about it, or what the Prophet ﷺ did. That is my passion actually, to take that out. It's in the history, in the books. You see like sleeping there, like Imam al-Ghazali and Ibn Nafis, the people who are thought us about psychology before that. Even actually I was planning to do my PhD in that. Like see, they were teaching us the psychotherapy, the cognitive psychotherapy. I do it in like master and like that. Then if you open the Ihya Ulum al-Din, you can't believe what they are teaching us is there by Imam al-Ghazali. So it's like it's there.
Alhamdulillah, you don't necessarily go to a Western concept to learn these things.
It is there. So how you can take it out? Because when I say Ihya Ulum al-Din, people just think about maybe tasawwuf or maybe, but everything is there. I'm just giving one book about it. There's as a child psychologist, there's a scholar called Ibn Abi Dunya. Also, his books, a lot of people, even in the Arab world, don't know about him. He got all the child psychology and the development of the children from the psychological point. It's also there, and how to treat. Like see now, in at Al-Ghazali College, I'm in charge of a thinking skill program for Muslim kids. So I'm the coordinator there. So we are doing it with Professor Hasina from UNISA. What's happening there? I'm in charge of the Islamic child psychology. And you must see amazing how people like Ibn Mascud is talking about 5 years kids, how to treat him, when you must start teaching, what you must teach. It's just amazing. We have a lot we can take out from there. So the Islamic psychology starts from that side. You're taking it from, like I wrote some articles about the leadership in the Quran, or learning in the Quran. If you take like Surah Kahf, and the way how also the management, but from the Quran. So you are taking your background as a psychologist, as a Sharia, and you put it together. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, I think we as South African Muslims will truly, and Muslims around the world, would truly benefit from this form of psychology. But what happens when you have a non-Muslim child or adult coming to you for some sort of therapy? How do you then, deal with them with the Islamic psychology concept?
You see how you deal with them. You see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِنَّمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. Mercy for human being. So it's for human being. And
yes, for the whole of mankind.
So, as a child, now you are talking about to a child. You are doing your therapy to a child. So you are not allowed to use your background as a Muslim. But I can use the wording itself, the idea itself. It's not necessary to tell,
because it's Prophet Muhammad said, it's practical in its common sense, alhamdulillah.
Yeah. So you don't need to tell him it's from the Quran or from you don't even need to mention, because you are not allowed even to mention anything. But you can use same ideas. The ideas is the same, The approach is just it's for a human being. because it's not for Muslims, it's for a human being.
Absolutely. But
Yeah.
now again, let's turn that question around.
Yeah.
What if I come to you as a Muslim or bring my child to you as a Muslim? Would you then impart the Quranic knowledge or the Sharia knowledge with us as Muslims? So you're giving a psychological treatment,
Yeah.
but do you bring the Islamic aspect in as well?
Yeah.
Just so that you make us understand and appreciate
We
what
was
we're
doing
going
it,
through.
I was doing it in Egypt, even in the counseling and everything. We start. I give. You see, you take the problem. You discuss the problem and say, it happened in the Prophet ﷺ's time. That's something like that, and how he deal with it, or it's in the Quran. So like that, because you know what our problem is.
And alhamdulillah, that's dawah as well.
Yeah. No, there is in Egypt, there is Al-Azhar University. They have a dawah university. There is a dawah university, and they have the dawah, the psychology of dawah. And I always also dream about how we can start some workshop like that. And they have like professors teaching there, and so they also train you how to do dawah from the psychology part also.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
even without making the patient aware of the fact that this is dawah, it is in fact dawah. You are conscientizing the patient. You're making them think differently, alhamdulillah. And in the process, you're helping them heal. So, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all your efforts, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Let's go for an ad break. I'm talking to the most interesting Fatima Sheikh. She's Moroccan. She lives out in Claudius, Pretoria, and she's at the Al-Ghazali College. What an amazing woman. She is a qualified child and clinical psychologist, and she just explained how they bring the Sharia, the spirituality, that aspect into psychology when and as they treat patients. So her dream and her wish is also that we have a similar concept here in South Africa, inshallah. Let's go for an ad break. We'll be back and we'll talk some more with this amazing woman. Sister Fatima Sheikh is a Moroccan. She's in South Africa, married to a South African man, and she teaches at the Al-Ghazali College in Pretoria. Her background, clinical and child psychologist, with the Sharia aspect brought into it, alhamdulillah. She studied at Al-Azhar University in Cairo. Now, you're very passionate about migrant women and children. You believe that they are at a disadvantage. And that being said, you've started the African Academy for Human Development, and we're going to talk about the high tea later.
Yeah.
What is this all about, and how long has it been in operation?
Okay, we started actually, I say we because me and my husband, we started together.
May Allah bless you.
I mean, because both of us, we have something, like similar, like that's common, that we like to, we came, he was also at Azhar University, and we came back with lots of energy to serve the community.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, I always tell him that Allah sent me here, I think, to meet you, just to serve the community here in South Africa.
Shukr.
So, yeah, so what happened, and we start giving, like individually, even in the school, the courses, workshop, trying to bring scholars from overseas to give da'wah here, lectures, and then you see why and some mashayikh also from overseas, they see people, you must make that under one umbrella, because now you are working individually, do it under like one
collective
umbrella.
yeah.
So then we thought about the African Academy, and we used African because, as I told you, I'm from Morocco. We meet in Egypt. We are in South Africa. So it's like the triangle.
The African triangle.
Yeah, that's what we are doing.
Right.
So I see that's the way how we started. And then the vision is to provide the 21st century skills to all individual in South Africa, in Africa, inshallah, one day.
Ameen.
And we start some relation with other African organizations, because what I believe actually is that everybody in this country or in Africa deserves to have chance to learn the 21st century skills.
What would they be? Talk to us about it. We
Okay.
are in the fourth industrial revolution.
Yeah.
The world of work, the world of learning has changed dramatically.
Yeah.
What are you bringing differently to the Academy for Human Development?
I give you an example what we are doing, so like you understand better if I just talk. You see, we giving like robotic. So robotic, we have also like a weekly classes about robotic, but for kids, engineering for kids, science, and chemistry for kids. So now, what
Is this all at Al Ghazali, or is this separately?
No, it's separate from Al Ghazali College. We are doing it at the African Academy.
Which is where?
In Claudius also. So what basically now, what we did, we just combine and change our garage to an academy.
Okay. So what is the target age of children that you have there? How many children come there, and how often do they come?
We actually, the age we start from 5 years up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so till the 14, 15 years. Like the robotic is still 15 years. The engineering is from 5. Also,
onwards.
like yeah. So we also do a program for girls, like a holiday program. It's a 4 days program that we teach them. It's from 9 till 14 also. That time, that is the age that they start. You know, the age of adolescent, and that we call it from the psychology part, that the crisis of the identity.
Absolutely.
Who I am.
Yes.
So we start the program for them. It's a bulugh time also. So we have, alhamdulillah, there's a lot of, and that I love about the community also. Lots of people are coming to teach them. So it's 4 days with like more than 11 workshops. 1 hour, 1 hour.
At Al Ghazali?
No, at African Academy.
Okay.
In the African Academy in Claudius. So what we do, we have a doctor, she comes and she explains for them the change in their bodies and what happened. Then I come with my psychology background. I teach them. So I give them the thinking skills, like the thinking skills had the 6 hats, the decision maker, how to make decision. It's all about life skills. We call people to teach them about how to use media and Facebook and all this stuff. We call these other people come to teach them about also engineering, and I focus to put this engineering robotic by the girls program to break down that what stereotype that girls only do certain things that they can do. The
gender disparity issue.
Yeah, so I be sure to put some of the stuff that people like, oh, wow, like why my daughter need to learn this. I say, yeah, she must learn this. And maybe she can choose it after that.
Absolutely.
You know, as a career.
So this is a 4-day program. It happens during the holidays, which means it's going to happen this coming holiday as well.
Yeah.
So how do people sign up, and what's the cost?
The cost is 1,950. That's for the 4 days with the meals and everything.
But they don't sleep over?
No, they go back like
home.
5 o'clock they go back and they come back. I know, like, I want just to talk about this initiative and other initiative also. A message, and using your platform for a message to the community also.
Absolutely, alhamdulillah.
We are, when we launch these programs, who come to us? The people who can pay, is it? But the people who can't pay, how we can deal with them? So when we talk to the community, people don't understand that it's not luxury, it's a necessity. It's necessary. Mm-hmm. So it's not about, some people say, no, but we need to give money for food and for I know food is very necessary for the poor people. But now imagine if I give that money for a poor woman or for a poor girl to learn. So that's $100 or $100, whatever you give her to learn, she will earn herself like a 200, a 300, a 400.
True.
You don't need to go back to her to give her food or blanket.
Yes, absolutely. You're upskilling her and you're making her independent.
Yeah, like there's a proverb, I think Chinese or Japanese proverb, they said, don't give me a fish, teach me how to fish.
Absolutely.
You see?
Okay, so this is for children, this workshop. What about women?
Women, we do, we give, what it's called now, the languages. We give languages, like workshops like Arabic.
Is this for migrant women only, or for any person who feels...
No, because our vision is for everybody in Africa. Now our focus is to like South Africa, but we are planning for the whole Africa. It's open for everybody.
So what are the skills you teach women, and when do you teach those skills?
Till now, the women we are planning. We didn't do beside the languages. That's what we did till now. But we are planning to do other like baking for ladies. We want to do also entrepreneurship for ladies. We have it in our plan, but the problem is now sometimes it's because we are focusing too much on the kids, and we see no, we'll do it later. But it is in our schedule also that what we want to do. We already talked to some people. We want to go to the township now and use the skills, inshallah, for the women. And we can use even indirectly to also call for Islam. We are not going to tell people who are coming to teach you must become Muslim. No, we are not doing that. But it's indirectly. So we like sewing. I talked to some people, we can do sewing, baking, how to marketing also.
But it hasn't happened yet. That's your long-term plan.
It's a long-term.
Inshallah. Yeah. Let's talk about the high tea. We indicated on Saturday the 21st.
Yeah.
Who should be attending? Where do we get tickets from? Okay. And are you also, is the community going to come together and donate to the tea? In fact, baking and cakes and things and bring it to the tea?
You see the high tea, how it starts actually. We're thinking about the immigrant because now, as I'm a foreigner, so you like in your life you meet a lot of immigrant ladies. You can make even immigrant lady, you meet her in your house like a helper, So what happened that we are hearing a lot of problems. First, before even you start any problem, is the cultural conflict. You come into South Africa, even you are married to a South African, he must accept your culture. We are Muslims,
but you do feel marginalized.
You see,
there's no two ways about it.
Yeah, so you need to accept, and he need to accept
and understand each other's cultures.
And all, alhamdulillah. But it's not everybody find it like you see the rose is like on front of her, or front of him is an immigrant man. So same for the kids. The kids now, if they come like in the schools, maybe the language, or the kids like, oh, he's an Indian, oh, he's a Pakistani, oh, he's a Malawian, or I don't know what. And we feel it as a teacher. Sometimes the kids tell me, Muallima, she don't understand because she is from, just like the first the first day that they meet that kids. But alhamdulillah, our environment in school don't allow that. So the kids just get used to and play together and like that. But also I feel now the other side, the mommy now, if she don't, maybe she have no self-confidence. Maybe she can't speak also. So she can't go to the teacher and ask her about the
child's progress.
So you find the mother is somewhere else, and sometimes you feel that is the problem. The child is, alhamdulillah, he's good and his IQ is high, but socially the barrier is a social barrier. So he's not improving in the school. The moment you sit with him, the moment you give him that support.
Okay, unfortunately, we've come to the end of the show. Tell us quickly about the tea.
Okay. The high tea, what we want to do, we want to call all the immigrants, from different religion, from different countries, even also the local ladies from South Africa. In the high tea, want to break that barrier.
And is it a ladies only event?
Yeah, ladies only event. And in the program, we are calling ladies from different countries to answer this question, what I give back to South Africa.
Wow. And
in the same time, we are calling that a lady, her name is Saida Kachalia. Her father was with Nelson Mandela.
An activist.
Yeah, so he got a lot of support from other countries.
Yes.
No, we know the opposite now.
Right.
So the others, they talk about what they give back to South Africa, and Sister Saida will talk about how the other countries give,
Absolutely.
So we want, the message is, we are one. We can help each other.
How do people get tickets?
The ticket, it's they can just phone.
Yes.
And
at Al Ghazali.
Al Ghazali or the Academy.
Right.
Or just phone, because we are a team of ladies, South African and immigrant ladies together. We are working.
And the price of the tickets?
It's 150.
Yes.
And this price, the money for the tickets, we want, inshallah, to launch in the Haiti, a club to support immigrant ladies and immigrant kids. And from here, I can, if we can call people who have any skills to help in that club, like teachers, psychologists, doctors, entrepreneurs who teach the financial advisors, just to help that ladies to start maybe their own business, or a psychologist or coaches to start, to break that social conflicts or cultural conflicts. I'm teaching about South Africa. And some ladies just want to listen to our immigrant ladies.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and that's really, it's been absolutely delightful having you on the show. Please continue doing all the good work that you're doing, inshallah. And lots of success for the high tea. Maybe we'll talk to you again sometime soon about the developments that the African Academy for Human Development has achieved. So in a couple of months' time, come back and tell us about all of the successes in your work, inshallah.
Inshallah.
May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all your efforts and bless you for all the amazing work you're doing.
Ameen.
Shukran
Thank
for
you
being
for
on the
having
show.
us.
My
Thanks.
pleasure. And that's the show for today. I do hope you're going to go out, buy your tickets and attend this high tea on the 21st at Al Ghazali College. It's for an amazing cause, and it's also giving us an opportunity to interact with other nationalities throughout Africa. Amazing work being done, and inshallah we will be following this academy, the African Academy, and help them touch lives in a positive way. That's the show for today. Thank you for being with me. As always, please take care on the roads. Until next time, as always, it is Khudafez from me, Julie Alli.
يا هلا 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 حن قلبي على جمعة الخير هلا حن قلبي على جمعة الخير هلا يا هلا ويا هلا ويا هلا ويا هلا يا هلا ويا